If you thought becoming a CPC in 3 months was intense, buckle up because today we are speeding things up. I'm going to talk about becoming a CPC in 6 weeks and what that study plan would look like. It's definitely going to be challenging, but with some determination, you can absolutely do it. You're also going to need a solid study plan, which I will share with you in this video. So get ready, grab yourself a notepad, and we are going to get into it. The first thing I want to tell you is money talks, and you're going to need to be financially prepared to do this so fast. In addition to needing to pay for the exam fee and your AAPC membership, you're also going to need books because you need to have the books for the exam, and you're going to need some study materials and some other odds and ends as well. So make sure that you set aside an appropriate budget and you know what the cost of all of those things is going to be starting out. And make sure that you're investing in quality materials. You're going to need certain types of code books for the CPC exam. You have to have the AMA edition of the CPT book, and then any edition you want of the HCPCS and the ICD-10-CM book. I recommend just getting the whole bundle from the AAPC, and you should be using current year because you're going to be at a disadvantage if you're using a different year's books. The exams are set by calendar year for the AAPC, so in 2023 you want to use the 2023 books. You can't use 2024 books even if you get them in October, November, December. You can't use those until calendar year 2024. You may even want to think about a budget for additional study resources like a review course, or if you need an additional tutor to help you along the way. Now, if you are looking to save some money, you want to sign up for my free career masterclass so you can find out about Preppy, which is the most affordable and best option you have for studying medical billing and coding. The free career masterclass is going to tell you everything you need to know about medical billing and coding, what the salary is going to be, what the day in the life of a medical coder is like, what certifications you want to get like the CPC, and the program that's going to check all those boxes and help prepare you for an exam such as the CPC. So I highly suggest you sign up today, medicalcodingmasterclass.com. You're going to get a lot of resources there that you won't get through other programs like an externship, which is so vital for your career. Next, you're going to need to make sure you have all of your supplies. So in addition to having training materials like a textbook, like the step-by-step books or the AAPC's books, you're going to need medical code books, and you're going to need things like notepads, sticky notes, pens, pencils, highlighters. There's a lot of people that love to just decorate the heck out of their code books by doing certain techniques where you highlight certain things and underline certain things. And flashcards, because you need to know medical terminology in order to be successful in this exam. It is not something that you want to trick your way through. Now, you don't need to purchase flashcards like this. You can use flashcard apps, you can use paper flashcards and make your own. Sometimes the act of just writing through things, although it is painstaking, it does tend to help you remember things better. It's also helpful if you have a dedicated space that you can set all of these things up, because it makes it easier for you if you remove all of the barriers you possibly can. If all you need to do is just sit down here and everything's ready for you, you're going to be less likely to procrastinate and go, oh, well, I can't do it because my book's over here and da-da-da, and I have to get this and I have to get that. If everything is set up and ready for you, you are ready for success. And set up some accountability for yourself. You're more likely to stick with your goals if you share them with someone else, even if that's just a friend or a family member, or use social media. You can go online, you can network with some people that are studying for the same exam and share your goals. Sometimes those little check-ins can really help your motivation. Another thing you could do is schedule your exam, because oftentimes if you schedule your exam, like say you're like, hey, I'm going to study for 6 weeks and then the day after that I'm going to take my exam. If you schedule that now, you know there is a deadline to it. You know that you are now also financially invested. You are paying with your pocketbook to keep that goal. Mark it on your calendar, make it a date to remember, and if you want to, you can even treat yourself, going back to budgeting, budget to treat yourself after the exam. So set up a little gamified type of treat for yourself. Like, hey, if I pass the exam, I'm going to go get my nails done, I'm going to go get a cupcake. Give yourself a little reward. Now, once we've got that exam scheduled, the clock is tick, 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 ticking, and we need to figure out our study schedule. Now, I have a 6-week plan that you will have linked in the video description that you can download for free that breaks it down based off of my experience with how the structure of studying for the CPC exam works. The other thing you can do is just look at whatever materials you have and reverse engineer them. Like if it's 22 chapters, say, okay, in half of that time, I'll need to complete 11 chapters. So in the first 3 weeks, let me break down these 11 chapters. And then in the second 3 weeks, let me break down these 11 chapters and figure out how much you need to do in order to complete it by that end date. And then look at your schedule. Of course, something like a 6-week study plan really lends itself better to someone who is not working a full-time job and handling a family. So look at the days and times that you have set that will be dedicated for your studies. Is it going to be evenings? Is it going to be first thing in the morning? Is it going to be, during your child's nap time? Like, what is going to be the best time for you to focus on this and set yourself a schedule and stick to it? But remember to take breaks because you can only process so much information in one sitting. So take breaks, walk around, hydrate, eat, because a healthy you is going to be a smart and successful you. And of course, test your knowledge. Oftentimes the study materials will have like a pre-quiz and then a afterwards assessment. So make sure you're going through all of these different exams, these different practice tests that you can go through, all of the different test your knowledge. Don't skip those because it sometimes seems like maybe you've picked up something and retained it, but then when you go to actually answer a question, you realize, oh, you know what, I misinterpreted that. So it's really important to go through all of those practice questions. There are additional supplemental things you can purchase. There is the medical coding step-by-step workbook. If you don't have that, there are practice exams you can buy through the AAPC. I have a review that comes with the practice exams that you can buy on contempocoding.com. So regularly test yourself, make sure that you're assessing how accurate you are, where those key areas of improvement are, and I've included in my study plan some areas where you can write down how well you're doing in certain sections so you can easily identify where you need to target more studies. You also want to be mindful of your time. So the CPC exam is timed. It is 100 questions and 4 hours long. So you might want to set aside an hour to time yourself and see if you can do 25 questions. And if you can do 25 questions in an hour and you're getting an 80% or better, that's a good indicator that you are ready for the exam. Now for the exam, you only need a 70% overall, but if you're getting 80% on a practice exam, it's like the green light, like you're gonna be good to go. And finally, be prepared for the exam. If you are taking it at a physical location, make sure you know where that is, make sure you know what you're allowed to bring, what you're not allowed to bring, make sure you have your books ready, make sure you've removed anything that you are not allowed to have in your books, loose papers, sticky notes, those aren't allowed to be in your book. And if you're taking it online, make sure you really read through those instructions. Make sure that you have things like your photo ID. Make sure you know that you have to have a quiet space, that you have to have an external webcam because they're going to need to scan under your desk. They're going to want to look at the ceiling and make sure you don't have, hidden cameras that you're recording the exam or anything. But most importantly, you want to try to keep yourself relaxed, but overall have a positive attitude. If you go into this with a super positive attitude, like, I've already passed this exam, it's going to elevate you and it's going to give you that level of confidence that you will need. And don't forget, I'm always here for support and I am cheering you on. So there you have it. That is my super accelerated 6-week CPC study plan. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And if you need some additional study material, I have an entire playlist right here of all of the different chapters you'll need to study for medical coding. It is an extremely valuable resource, so make sure you take advantage of it. I will see you guys in the next video, and until then, just keep on coding on.